Hello everyone, welcome back. So today I want to go over yoga for the pelvic floor, and I am going to do two other videos as well that one is going to focus on relaxing the pelvic floor and the other one is going to focus on strengthening the pelvic floor, but this one is just going to be a little bit of both, and it's going to be, we're going to start by just bringing our attention to our breath. You can breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. You can breathe in and out through the nose or mouth, whatever feels good for you. Relax your shoulders down. You can sit up on a blanket or two if that helps you sit up nice and tall. And we're just going to bring our attention to our pelvic floor. We're going to see if you can notice any clenching, any holding. Maybe you notice you're holding or clenching the glutes. You might even notice clenching your jaw, or the shoulders are up. So just scan the body, making sure to bring some attention to your pelvis. As you inhale, you're going to fill your belly, fill your chest with air, and see if you can notice a descending, a lengthening of your pelvic floor away from your head towards the ground. And as you exhale, you don't just squeeze, but you might notice a gentle rise of the pelvic floor back up towards the head. And we're going to bring that awareness with us as we come onto our hands and knees. So we'll bring the wrists underneath the shoulders, the knees underneath the hips, toes can be curled or flat, whatever feels good. We'll start with some cat-cows. Inhaling, lifting the chest, looking forward, dropping the belly down. As you exhale, curl the spine up towards the sky, pressing through the hands, through the feet, away from the mat, curving the spine up towards the ceiling. You're just moving with the breath. Starting to warm up the spine. You may feel lengthening of the abdominals with your cow, and the lengthening of your spinal muscles with your cat. And we'll come back to a neutral spine. And then we're going to step one foot forward. So I'm going to start by stepping my left foot between my hands. And if that transition is hard for you, you can always come up on some blocks to give yourself a little bit more room. And then when you're there, you can stay with your blocks. So we're working on getting some length in the front of this right hip. My feet are about hip width apart. If you feel nice and stable here, you can go ahead and bring your hands to your heart or overhead. Nice tall spine here. Breathing into the front of the right hip, breathing into the belly. Nice strong legs here. On an exhale, we'll release the hands back down. You can bring them to your blocks or to the mat. We'll just step that foot back, and we'll step the right foot forward between the hands. So using your blocks if you need to. Finding your footing, so feet at least hip width apart. You can use a blanket to cushion the back knee. And if you feel nice and stable, you can reach the arms up, palms facing each other, shoulders nice and relaxed, reaching the crown of the head up towards the sky. So instead of dumping into your hips, your legs are nice and active. They're pressing away from the mat, away from the ground. And breathe here. You might notice some sensation in the front of the left hip. On an exhale, we'll bring the palms down. Step that foot underneath the knee. And then we'll bring the knees as wide as the yoga mat, toes together, and we'll sit back into an extended child's pose. So we'll reach the fingertips forward, hands as wide as the shoulders or wider, releasing the forehead down to the mat. Again, in this position, just bringing some attention to the belly and the pelvic floor. See if you can find that expansion on the inhalation. This is also a really nice pose for getting into the inner thighs. And we'll come back through our tabletop position. We're just going to swing the legs over and come to sit. So we'll bring one foot in and the other foot out, sitting up nice and tall. Inhale, we'll reach the fingers up towards the sky. Exhale, we're going to turn to face that extended leg for Janu Shirsasana, head to knee pose. Breathing into the groin, the low back. Allowing the head to release down. Slowly walk back up to neutral, and we're just going to change the legs, so extending the right leg out, sole of the foot coming to the inner thigh, sitting up nice and tall. Again, you can use a blanket if you need to raise your hips up a little in order to get that nice neutral spine. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, turn to face the extended leg and fold forward for your head to knee pose. We're going to keep an awareness in both legs, so drawing the knee, the thighs down, and then finding softness in the upper body. Notice if this side feels different. Slowly start to stack the spine, coming back up. This time we're going to bring the other foot in, so soles of the feet come together. And you can sit up on a blanket or a block. I'm going to use my blanket. If your legs are kind of hanging in the air and you want a little bit more support, you can use a block or two other blankets so that you can really relax the legs down or ground into the blocks. So we're just raising the ground up to meet you. Sit up nice and tall. Inhale, take a deep breath in. Exhale, we're going to bend forward at the waist, so my spine is staying nice and straight, nice neutral spine. And then when you can't come forward anymore, that's when you're going to release the spine to fold. Head releases down. We breathe here, breathing into the pelvis, into the inner thighs. You can also do this butterfly stretch, this Baddha Konasana, laying down if that's more comfortable, or if you're just too tired to be sitting up. continuing to take nice deep breaths here. And slowly rolling up through the spine, sitting up nice and tall. We'll extend the legs out, so bring the knees together. I'm just going to turn onto my mat. And you can keep the blanket if you want, or you can move it. So we're going to head into a seated forward fold. So it can be really nice to roll a blanket and stick it underneath the knees, or you can use some blocks. So I really like to start with the knees bent here in order to release my low back and my spine first. So we're gonna keep the toes engaged, flexed up towards the face. We're gonna sit up nice and tall. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, again, bend forward, starting from the hips, and then you can release the head down. And your hands can just rest wherever feels good, shins, toes. Really breathing into my low back. I find that the longer I stay in this pose, the more I can really release my low back and get into my hamstrings. So if you want, you can go ahead and slowly start to straighten the legs out, if that's in your practice. And when you're ready, you'll slowly walk yourself back up. And then we're just gonna come to lay flat on your back. So I like to use my blankie as a pillow. And we're gonna work on a bridge here. So feet are gonna be about hip width apart. Hands are resting at your sides. Snuggle the shoulders underneath the chest. And we're really gonna focus on engaging the glutes to help lift the hips up. A lot of times we use the hamstrings and we forget about the glutes. So before you even start to lift, see if you can squeeze your butt. And then once you have that, then start to lift your hips up. You're gonna keep the spine nice and neutral. And then just bring some awareness to your knees and make sure they're not coming out to the sides or coming in towards each other. So knees are pointing up towards the ceiling, thighs are parallel, glutes engaged. And then slowly release. And when we get to the bottom, we're just gonna make sure that we're fully letting go of our glutes and we're not still clenching. Inhale, take a nice deep breath. See if you can feel that lengthening of the pelvic floor. And as you exhale, squeeze and lift. You may or may not feel your pelvic floor engage. You may or may not feel your abdominals engage. So try that a couple of times, just moving with the breath, making sure you fully release when you get down to the bottom. You can stay up here as long as you'd like. And then when you're done, we'll hug both knees into the chest. Give yourself a nice big hug. You can roll around side to side. And then we'll bring the knees as wide as the shoulders. Maybe you stay here, or if it's in your practice, you can reach for the outer edges of the feet for happy baby. Again, breathing into the inner thighs, breathing into the hamstrings, noticing if you're clenching in the pelvic floor or anywhere else in the body, and using the breath to release, to let go. You can roll side to side for a nice little back massage, which I love to do. And we'll bring the feet back down to the mat. We're going to do a little bit of abdominal work before we end the practice. So we'll give you a couple different options. Option one is you're going to start in this hook lying position. So feet in the same spot as bridge. Hands can be down or they can be resting on your belly. You'll be a little bit more stable if you keep your hands down on the mat. And as we exhale, we're going to lift one knee so that it comes over your hip. And you're going to do this while trying to keep nice stable hips. You can go ahead and try the other side. So what we're doing is we're stabilizing, trying to prevent a rocking of the pelvis. And the leg lift is just to challenge that stabilization. Now, you can stay doing this. Make sure you're breathing the whole time. If that feels easy, you can start with your legs in a tabletop 90-90, right? 90-90. You want to make sure your abdominals feel like they're engaged. And then from here, if you can lower one heel down, come back up. Just make sure you're still breathing. When an exercise becomes too challenging, we tend to hold the breath. So sometimes bringing awareness can help prevent that from happening, but sometimes you just need to modify the exercise. So whichever version you choose is perfect. We'll just start to rock the knees side to side. We'll bring the knees as wide, or your feet as wide as the yoga mat. We'll bring the hands out into a T, so palms can face up or down. If you want a little bit more of an opening in the front of the shoulders, palms up can be really nice. And then we're going to bring the feet together and allow the knees to fall over towards one side. And whatever side you go towards, you want to see if you can keep the opposite shoulder down. Your gaze can be up towards the sky, or you can look over towards that hand. A gentle spinal twist here. Again, taking nice deep breaths into the belly. On an exhale, use the abdominals to come back through center. You can reposition your hips and then slowly lowering over to the other side. If your knees don't reach the ground, it can be nice to use a block or a blanket to help support your legs so they're not dangling in the air. When you're ready, we'll slowly come back up through center. And you can just extend the legs out long. Palms can come down, facing up or down. And rest in Shavasana. And I like to scan the body one more time, just noticing if there's still any places you're holding tension. You can stay here as long as you'd like, but I like to take at least 3 nice long deep breaths.